Hey guys, it is Sunday and Avery and I are just hanging out. We're actually reading a book together, which is pretty interesting, but we'll talk about that another time. Right now, we just kind of wanted to give you guys I wanted to give you guys, and Avery just happens to be here hanging out and she will chime in if she feels like it. But I want to give you guys a update on what's been going on with our family, which has been a lot and it is not being easy. And we haven't made content because things have been crazy. However, I think that, I don't want this space to be something where we are just giving you guys the highlight reels, like when people talk about where it's just only our life is perfect. It's awesome all the time. We're always this, we're always happy. Everything's honky dory. Everybody knows that does not exist, but yet still a lot of the times we only want to expose those good happy moments, but we don't talk about the rough things that we go through. And I don't want this space to be like that, right? Of course, there's some things that are just personal that we just might not share because it's just personal and we don't want to and we don't feel comfortable, and that's okay too. There should be some level of discretion, using wisdom. However, there's nothing wrong with saying things are rough and it's been a hard time. We've had a hard time. So let me just think. I don't know if I'm going to be able to remember the exact order of things, but to go with a little background information, if you didn't watch our previous video, I believe it was the previous one, Avery last year, January, was diagnosed with lupus. And, at first it was pretty mild, like it wasn't so bad. But then towards the end of last year, started to get more aggressive and it started attacking her kidneys. And she had to go on some medications for that, really strong medications for that. Had a kidney biopsy, all that. And then 2026 did not start off very well for us because we ended up in the hospital because Avery was having hemorrhaging in her lungs. And she was in ICU on a breathing tube and all that. We were in the hospital for close to 2 weeks. It was not fun. It was crazy. And it was very hard on our family in many different ways. So recently, so much has happened. So first of all, our whole household got sick. Every single person. I don't even know if that's ever happened before, but every single person in the house got sick. Avery was the last one to get sick because we were all trying our best for her in particular not to get sick, knowing that when she gets sick, things are just much worse.
Actually happened 2 times. Because one time the whole house was sick and I didn't get sick.
Yeah, so it wasn't the whole house, technically. So almost the whole house got sick. But as you said, she didn't get sick because we try our best. We try to for everyone not to get sick, of course, but particularly for Avery, for obvious reasons. But unfortunately, this time around, she did end up getting sick. And it hasn't been very smooth road at all. Okay. Now, firstly, I ended up having influenza B. And that was the worst thing ever. Long story short, I ended up passing out. Kids called the ambulance and all that. I woke up to paramedics around me. It was just crazy. Went to the hospital, got fluids, etc. Learned that I had influenza B. And that was just rough. So that was the whole hospital thing. Then the next day, Avery started having some symptoms. And the day after, I think we ended up in the hospital because, she was coughing up something, mucus, and that had some blood in it. So sorry, TMI. But yeah, so we ended up going to the hospital to make sure she wasn't having any bleeding again in her lungs and stuff. Oh, be careful. That might make a weird noise with the mic. Thankfully, that was not the case. Her lungs look okay. But then afterwards, we hear that her heart muscle looks a little bit big, which could be just from all the high blood pressure she was having. Then I ended up back in the hospital for chest pain, which I don't really know 100% what it is because I ended up in the hospital because it was taking so long. But I stayed long enough to know that it wasn't a heart attack, which was the one thing I wanted ruled out. But so I'm thinking it's likely stress related. So it's just so that's some of the stuff. And all that happened within less than 2 weeks. So it's been a lot going on for our family. And yeah, lots of changes, lots of things happening. So it has been hard because, you want to think positive, you want to have faith and all that, but at the same time, it's still not easy. And it puts a strain on everybody. It puts a strain on, our on marriage, because I mean, obviously you're thinking of your children's health, especially like Josie in particular was having a really hard time. He was having a fever for so long. And like, yeah, there's just so much was going on and still is going on. But, I think it's important to just, so hard as it is, like whenever you start thinking about all the negative things and how hard it is, we have to remind ourselves that, like, to have faith and to trust in God, because that's what we believe in, and to know that everything happens for a reason, and that God will use these things that we go through for His good. Anyway, yeah, that's really the update. That's what's been going on. As I said, I don't want it to be something where we just, show only the good things, because that's not real. That's not family life. That's not how it actually is. And you might be watching people on social media thinking that you wish that you were them, their life looks so good, and not realizing that they have difficulties too, just that they're not showing it and they're not talking about it. And they don't need to. They don't have to be showing that. They don't need to, but they go through stuff too. Maybe not this moment, but they probably have and eventually will. We all go through things in life. I think it's important just to like make good use of your time, make memories, make things matter, like take the time to really enjoy moments. As I said, like Avery and I, we're reading this book, To Love a Beast by Karen Whitmire. We both have the same book we got from the library, and we're reading through it together, and we're spending that quality time together. We just got back not long ago from going out for lunch as a family. Like, it's important that you make those times where you are creating those memories, and you are not taking like lightly, or I don't want to say taking advantage of when things are good and good times. That's not the word I'm looking for. But taking for granted, I think that's what it is. Don't take for granted those good moments when things are good and you had those memories. Like, and don't think it has to be anything special and over the top. It doesn't have to be a family vacation. It doesn't have to be anything over the top. But sometimes it's something simple as like Avery and I are with our blankets, cozy blankets, sitting and reading a book, laughing about it together, talking about it together. It could be just the simple things. As families that we need to really grab hold of and realize that it might be simple, but they're still very precious. So I feel like one of the things I've learned through all the experiences that we've experienced and moments of fear and all those type of things, it's like, it's so important to know that every moment is precious and to treat it as such. And to really value those moments when, for example, we're not in the hospital. Like, it takes being in the hospital quite a bit sometimes to really appreciate not being in the hospital. But yeah, Avery's okay though. So even though we have that update, Avery is here and she thinks about doing her nails all the time still. And all that, So anyway, if you are a praying person, I will still ask you guys to pray for us. It is still rough and we're not out the woods yet. But yeah, life goes on and we got to do what we got to do. So be encouraged, and please, guys, appreciate and value every moment with your family. It is precious. That's all. Until next time. What is it again?
Keep building your faith
Family and future. Bye-bye.